Hey, what's happening, everyone? This is Ed Stojancevich with the Stojo Zone, and I am beyond excited for this episode because I am here with my lovely aunts. They were my grandmother's sister. Well, they are my grandmother's sisters, and we are here to talk life. We are here to talk anything that they want to talk about. So let's get into episode 9, The Sisters. All right, everyone, Ed Stojancevich with the Stojo Zone, and I want to go around. So in case you hear a baby in the background, okay, first off, my wife and I are expecting. That is not our child yet, okay? So not yet. But Aunt Sibby, would you like to introduce yourself, and who's that baby in the background?
Hi, my name is Sylvia Padron, also known as Sibby. And that beautiful sound you're hearing is my great-granddaughter, Isela Bonita Pedro.
Now, that's a name. That's a strong name, too.
That's a strong name for a strong baby.
Absolutely. So she's a Halloween baby.
Born on Halloween, 31st of October of last year.
And she already has a ton of personality.
Oh, my God. She is so cute, outgoing, opinionated. Yeah, she's everything.
And unlike my mother, she liked my rice.
She loved your rice.
Absolutely. So now, who do we have next to you?
Dolly Calderon. Take it away, girl.
Hello.
This is my beautiful Aunt Dolly. And next to her is my Aunt Debbie. And for those of you that can't physically see them both, I'm 39 years old, and it took me 38 years to figure out which one is which. Because they are twins. They are identical twins. And who's older?
Dolly.
Okay, Dolly is, yep. Aunt Debbie was quick with that. She made sure to let you know that you were the oldest.
She's the baby.
Okay.
I'm the baby.
You're the baby? Okay.
Since Hilda's not here.
Yeah, oh, yes. Yeah. And Hilda's not here. We are missing Aunt Hilda, and we are missing Aunt Gracie. Yes, absolutely. Aunt Dolly, so what part of Florida?
I live in Coconut Creek, Florida, which is about 25 minutes from Fort Lauderdale.
And you've been there for quite some time now, yeah?
37 years.
37 years. And you love it?
Love it.
Would you ever move back?
I think about it, but then I think about the snow.
Touche. That makes sense. Okay. And then next to you is
Debbie Garibay.
And Aunt Debbie. Tell me about yourself.
Okay, well, I live in Portage, Indiana. I have 2 kids, Susie and Rocky has 2 boys, my grandsons.
Yep.
Vic and Lincoln, and I love them to death.
So shout out to Rocky and Aunt Dolly Orlando. Those are my musician cousins.
That's right.
And not only musician cousins, guitar musician cousins.
That's right.
I love my other cousins, but because they're guitar players, it's like, we're
Special bond.
birds from a feather, cut from a similar cloth, So, well, we are here today. I wanted to talk some stories. I wanted to talk life. I want to hear about where you guys grew up from, some stories, what schools you went to, what are your backgrounds, what did you guys do, what do you guys do for careers, you name it. So let's start. Aunt Sibby, tell me about yourself. Where were you guys born? Where were you guys from?
Okay, well, not all of us were born in the same place. I was born in Brownsville, Texas, September 18, 1948, which makes me 75.
75 years young.
Young.
Absolutely.
Exactly, because I don't feel like it. Shit. Come on. Anyway.
Blooper.
Oh, sorry about that.
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay. Yeah, I do not feel 75. I don't know if I look it, but I don't feel it.
Oh,
not at all.
No, you don't look it.
No, look at it all.
We have a great family that we were born into. I'm talking about our relationships, our love for one another, which is, and forever will be exceptionally beautiful. Mm-hmm. And we got that from my mother. Yeah. She was that type of woman.
And your mother's name? My great-grandmother. Her name is?
Yes, Isabel Fuentes Padron. But she was a type that her kids were everything. Nobody can say or do anything to her kids. And I'm talking like, outside work. She's very protective, very loving. I can remember being married, had Paul, my son, and would come over and visit her, and she thought nothing of just grabbing me like this and and I'd sit on her lap, and she'd hug me, and she goes, "What's going on, mija?" That's the way she was. Not just to me, to anyone who would let her.
Yeah. Very loving.
Very loving. And even though she passed at a very young age, she was 41, that I feel that love just transcended. And we passed it on to the girls because they didn't know my mom that well. Mm-hmm. They were 7 when she passed, 6, 8, 9, 10.
No, we were 9.
Where was I then?
You were married.
You were married,
with
living
children.
in Chicago.
Yep.
Yeah, but I always thought you guys were 7.
No.
See, there you go.
We were 9, and she was buried on our birthday,
Right, I know that.
September 20th.
September 20th, 1967.
So from that day on, we kind of just took part in rearing them.
Yeah.
I mean, they lived with my father, but he worked, shift work, and we all kind of just took turns helping, But I would get them for the weekend because I lived in Chicago, and I'd come get them on Friday and then bring them home on Sunday.
And that was a treat.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah,
we had
we had a
good
lot of
time.
fun. Yeah, a lot of fun. And
I had fun going to the laundromat with you.
you did?
Yeah.
All right, then.
I mean,
you want to go now?
No.
Okay.
Isn't it weird, the little stuff like that, like the laundromat? And you probably didn't think anything of it, but yet that's like one of the first things that popped out.
Because I think it was close to your house, right? We'd
Probably.
walk or drive or whatever, and then we'd just be there and just seeing the clothes, seeing Sylvia. We'd help fold clothes.
Yeah.
We'd have fun.
Yeah.
Seeing the clothes, Dawn.
In the dryer and go around.
I think I blocked that part out.
Debbie,
I like going for walks
Yeah.
down Garfield Boulevard.
Right.
And Dolly and I met these guys. Okay.
This is where it gets...
They were young. Like, how
Okay,
old were you
okay.
guys? Were you?
How old were we?
15?
No. We were
14.
about 13, 14.
Yeah, they were young.
14.
Yeah.
I'll say 14. Yeah. Not 13.
And these were like little wannabe gangs.
Yeah, no,
But they were
gangs.
nice. They were nice.
They were in the game. They were
Well,
nice
okay.
to us because we presented ourselves in such a way
That they looked out for you.
They respected us.
Mm-hmm.
They looked out for us, and we were intriguing because we were so innocent.
And you guys probably didn't take any crap either.
We didn't have to. They were so.
Well, one guy was named Savage.
Oh, that's his name.
Yeah, that was his name,
Nice.
Savage. The
I
other
had
one,
a crush on Cato.
and the other one was Midget Man
Because he was little.
because he
Oh
was
yes,
little.
and then there was one. The other guy, Shades.
Shades.
Yeah.
But there was a carefree type of thing.
Yes.
Yes.
Because I gave them permission to go down a block and a half,
Yeah.
And the boulevard is like right in the center of 2 streets, 2 lanes on this side to your east, 2 lines to your west, and in the middle was like a little park.
Yeah.
So they would walk down there. But
And
they
it-
asked me. And then when they said they found these friends and they were nice, and then I said, okay, I met them and they seemed to be okay. So I let them go and they just, I want to say play.
Yeah.
Because they
Yeah.
were young, they were just,
We just sat on the bench and talked.
yeah.
Yep.
They were intrigued with us because we were different.
Well,
We
you
weren't like the girls from
No,
Chicago.
you were country
Yeah.
We
bumpkins.
were from Indiana.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, because you guys went
Yes.
there. So therefore, it's like, wait a second. They're not wired the same way
No.
as...
No.
Yeah.
Exactly. So they gave us a going away party.
Uh-oh. Let's hear it.
And we asked Sylvia if we can go. And she said, yeah. And the guys, did they come and ask
Yes.
you? Yeah, they came and asked. Who asked? Santana?
I don't know.
I don't either.
Nelson.
I don't know who asked, but I mean,
Maybe
Okay.
it was Nelson and Cato.
they all
Yeah.
seemed nice
They were
guys.
brothers.
Just
Yeah.
young kids,
So we were had a going away party. Didn't know anybody there. It was at somebody's house.
Yeah.
And there were girls there and the guys and, they had pop for us. We didn't drink or nothing like that. But it was pretty cool. The music, it was in Chicago and one of them, those houses. It was just cool.
Were you guys into the salsa then?
Yes.
No, we weren't.
No, Zibby, because you're the one that took us to Amy's
house
for the baptism, and that's when we learned salsa because
she was my friend from work, Puerto Rican lady, very short.
Yeah.
We're talking short. She had to
wore
wear
high heels.
high heels, and she was still short.
Shorter than honey.
Oh yeah,
Way shorter.
Oh,
than
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, she was very short, and but sweet. So we went to the baptism, and I brought the girls with because they were staying with me that weekend. And they were mesmerized by her because even though she was a tiny little lady, she presented herself classy.
Yeah.
Dressed real nice, walked real nice, treated us real nice. And, they were just like, oh, my God, that's what I want to be.
Well, she took us to get something to wear. Remember what we wore? Overalls. We wore this flannel shirt. It was white.
But you guys picked it out.
I know.
I know because we're from Indiana.
I'm not
Yeah.
blaming you. We picked it out. But it was a flannel shirt with a white background with it looked like leaves. Mm-hmm. And then the blue jean overalls. Okay?
They look like farmers.
We look like farmers at a Puerto Rican
Fest.
baptism,
The most Indiana thing ever.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh. I mean, so anyway. So we went there. That's the first time we had Puerto Rican rice. And that's the first time we had pasteles. So ever since then, that's my favorite food in the whole world.
You're hooked.
I'm hooked.
It wasn't my first time having Puerto Rican rice.
No, because you had Ishmael. Okay, so then we're sitting there, and we see two couples dancing. Young, they were in their teens too. And we thought they were boyfriend and girlfriend. So we're like, Dolly, you see those steps? Look at those steps. She goes, yeah. I go, can you do that? She goes, yeah. They knew we were looking at them. We were looking at them hard because we wanted to learn those steps.
We were, how would you say, analyzing every step
Right, 'cause
and
you
every
wanted
and
to
turn.
So whatever I didn't get, Debbie got.
Yeah. Yeah. Because is it safe to say it's the first time you've ever seen dancing like that?
Like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because, correct me if I'm wrong, you were a dancing family with Grandpa and everything like that
Yes,
as well.
we were.
But Mexican, not Puerto Rican dancing.
Okay, so that's where this
Can you hear
came.
me?
Yeah, yep, you're good. That's where this kind of came into play. Is like
Right.
you guys were a dancing family, but this was a different type of dancing. So
Right. Something that they probably liked and never knew how. I don't know. But after that, everything was like Puerto Rican was the thing. They wanted to be Puerto Rican. They wanted to smell like Puerto Ricans. They wanted to look like Puerto Ricans.
yes,
The music was different.
The
Yes.
music was tropical, different.
yeah.
So
as
Mexican music, you know how
Yeah.
that
Is
is.
it upbeat? So Puerto Rican music just more
Faster.
upbeat, faster.
Faster.
Yeah.
Faster,
Upbeat.
tropical.
Mexican music is like folk. Mexican ranchera music is, folk,
like polka.
like a polka.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, so we're sitting there, and to come to find out that they were cousins. So the guys asked us to dance.
Oh, okay.
So we got up, and they taught us how to dance salsa.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it intimidating?
No,
No,
they
we-
were so
Nice.
nice, and it was like these girls really they want to know how to dance, so let's teach them. They were great.
So we already knew the basics. And because of the basics of dancing, we were able to follow them and dance with them because of our dad,
Yep.
who, like you said, we were a dancing family, and
Yeah.
he taught us how to turn. When he turned us, we knew where to turn and so on. So when they were dancing with us and they were doing their turning us,
They're
we knew
leading
which
you.
way- leading us.
Yeah,
with
that
the
was at least
turns.
similar. Yep.
Yes.
We knew which way to go.
Okay. Now the footwork. So I remember when I stood up. There was two quinceañeras. I stood up in cousin Melissa's quinceañera, and I stood up in my sister's quinceañera. The dancing, I could have easily done without. Like easily, it was practice,
Practice, practice.
And
Fast.
it was fast. It was practice. It was don't mess up. And it was, I'd much rather be playing guitar.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
so, but it was fun. Like after you like nailed it, you're like, okay, all this practice. Okay, all this practice, you know, but I couldn't tell you the dance now. There's no way.
Yeah.
So it didn't like, it's not like riding a bike. You just jump right back into it. If you don't use it, you lose it.
Exactly.
You know.
Now, I like to dance, and I do all types of dancing, but I never got into the Puerto Rican dancing, the salsa and that, because I always thought it was too fast. So I never got into it, you know.
Well, when we were
But
younger,
I love that you guys did it.
when we were younger, the faster the better. You know, we did pretty good.
Yep. That's so. Growing up in Chicago, so tell me, how many brothers and sisters are there?
Originally, there was 7 of us.
Okay.
My brother Ephraim, who has passed, he was only boy and he was the oldest. And then next in line was Rose, Rosemary, and she's passed now too. So she was the oldest girl. Then I followed. Then Gracie, another one of our sisters, she followed me.
Mm-hmm.
And then Hilda, another one of our sisters, she followed Gracie. And then, boom, the twins.
Yep. Hilda, the baby, right?
She's a baby wannabe. So they let her. They
Until
let
the
her.
twins were born.
Yep.
But we let her too. I let her be. I'm the baby, but
Yeah.
I let her be the baby.
But she's the baby.
Yeah,
Yep.
she
Okay.
demands to be the baby, so she's the baby.
She demands it. Yep. So it cracks me up too because she takes charge.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We were talking upstairs just earlier today, like just at dinner and everything. And then with the games, that she takes charge. There you go. So and competitive. Like, were you guys all competitive growing up?
Oh, yes.
Well, we were in sports.
Yes.
Debbie and I were in sports.
Okay. So who was all sports? You, Debbie.
That's it.
That's it.
Oh, that's okay. Out of the whole family, it was just
Oh,
like
no,
Gene,
my
my
brother.
brother.
My
Oh,
brother
yeah,
was
okay.
cross country.
Track, right? Or
Track, yes.
That's right.
Cross country. And if you look him up, he is in the Indiana, I guess where, people are recognized.
Okay.
Like,
the records.
yeah, record.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, he held the record for a while.
Yeah.
Many years.
Yeah,
at
so
his
he
school.
was, and the thing was, my father was very strict. He didn't think that was necessary for us to be in sports, for us to go to basketball games, for us to go to school dances, for us to do anything. Very
Yeah.
strict. But because Gene was very good, his coach practically pleaded with my father, let's, work with this and, we can get him to do this and that. But my
Yeah.
dad wasn't that type of guy. He wasn't into sports like that. So they talked him into it, and he did.
And Uncle Gene was built like an athlete too, right?
Gene was very, very good. And then
track.
Yeah.
and track. And then the same thing happened with the girls. They were into volleyball, but my dad didn't want them to play. I don't know what his reasoning was.
Yeah.
The boys.
Yeah, but because he had so many girls. He didn't want us talking to boys, looking at boys, being around boys.
Yep.
Yeah, he was very strict that way.
But
Yeah.
he did the same thing with us. Our gym teacher, Miss Schaefer, she was the manager for field hockey, volleyball.
Okay, yep.
Girls
Intramurals.
intramurals.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
So she ended up she coached that as well on top of being the gym teacher.
Yes.
Yep.
So she talked to my dad.
So we wanted to play.
And you guys were good. She wanted you on the team.
And we told her, no, we can't. My dad won't let us. But she said, how about if I talk to your dad? And we're like, oh, well, I don't know.
No,
because,
don't
I don't know what my dad will say to you. She goes, well, I'll come over. And then she came over and talked to him. And he told her, well, okay, but you got to come pick him up and take him. And then it's your responsibility. If anything happens to them, it's on you.
Yeah.
And those words, not those words, but something like that.
Very
Paraphrase it,
stern,
yeah.
very strong. Yeah.
And then she said, okay. But he did take us to the
Absolutely.
practices, and stuff.
But just playing tough.
Yeah.
Playing hardball.
yeah, but you were the baby, so he wasn't as tough on you guys as he was on us.
Oh,
No.
he was tough on us. He was tough.
Not like us.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, no, they don't know.
They don't.
Well, they do know. They do know because they've heard it through the years
Well,
and that.
One year, I was voted in
Yes.
my sophomore year to be to represent the freshmen for homecoming.
Yep.
So when I came in, I told my dad, I already had somebody that was going to stand up with me, one of our friends.
Yep. And we were going to buy your clothes. I mean, he
yeah.
didn't have to put nothing out.
Nothing. And he said no. And I told him, but Dad,
This is an honor. You know,
everybody voted for me. Not everybody.
We had
but I
an
got the
assembly.
most- we had an assembly, and everyone voted.
Absolutely.
Got the most votes. How embarrassing is that when I would have to
didn't
go
care.
there and they would have to redo the whole vote, have another assembly to vote again.
Because you couldn't. Because you
Because
wouldn't.
he
be able-
said
yeah.
I was trying to tell him this. No. It was the answer was no, and that was it.
And Gene talked to him. He said no.
Oh, my
I
goodness.
talked to him. He said no. I said, Dad, we'll buy her dress. We'll buy everything. You don't have to do nothing. Just let her go. No.
Still no.
So we had to have a whole new assembly and have somebody vote to take my place.
Wow.
Yep.
So you didn't get a chance to go.
No, did not.
We couldn't go to the
We couldn't go to the prom
football
Wow.
games or anything.
unless
Yeah.
he took us.
Yeah, well, he took us once. That was a
That was him. He had I don't know what kind of childhood he had, but I do know that long after I was already married, Paul was bigger. And I said to him one time, I go, Dad, why were you so mean to us when we were growing up? He goes, what do you mean mean? Yeah, you didn't let us do this. Wouldn't let us go there. We could never spend the night with anybody, and of course they couldn't come and spend the night with us either because we had no room,
Yeah.
with all of us there. But he just said, you know what? I just treat you how I was treated. My mom, his mother was very strict. My mom didn't let me do this, didn't let me do that. So that's how I did it.
Cyclical. It's a cycle. So what? And he did. So he raised
Went with
you
it.
how he was raised because that's the environment that he knew best. Yeah.
And he was very hard in the respect that he did not hold back in hitting us, which would now be child abuse. Each one of us at one time got our ass kicked. I mean, really good.
Yeah.
Where it could be charges filed.
I
you
didn't.
know?
Oh well,
Of course not.
I take that back.
Yeah,
he
you
didn't
did.
hit me. He choked me.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But you asked him to.
No, he didn't.
Yes, you did.
How do you ask somebody to choke you?
You go, hit me. Go ahead, hit me. And then he did.
He didn't hit me. He choked me.
Well, he choked you.
So it was testing the water. It was antagonizing, right? Antagonizing. So, but it's different eras. Like you see now, people don't want to, like, they won't even swat their kids. Like,
I
come on
know.
now, let's not do that. Now. I guess I'm old school where I don't think that that's wrong. Like if child needs to get a little swat, they get a little swat, But I also think people can go way over the line with it,
Right.
However, I think having the conversations with people, like with a little kid, come on now, let's not do that. Let's make better decisions or whatever. It's kind of tough. Like,
Well, you hear her.
yeah,
She screams back at me if I tell her no.
exactly. She runs the house, right?
yeah, she runs me.
Yep. So that's how that is. So we're in different time zones. So, or different eras, time eras, or whatever it may be. So let me ask you this then. So you said you guys have lost your mother at an early age.
Yeah,
correct?
she was 41.
So she was 41.
I
So
thought she was 42.
41.
Okay.
41 years old. The sisters all had to basically step up then because you guys especially the older sisters, had to fill in the mother role.
help,
Yeah, tell me a
because-
little bit about that.
Well, my brother was married, had a family. Rose was married and had a family. I had a family and was married. Gracie was married and had a family. So the only ones at home was Debbie and Dolly and Hilda. And they were living with my dad because, that's where they lived. And he worked shift work. So that's where we kind of stepped in, And plus, when they would be with us, we would do things with them, because we knew how my dad was. Now, my dad wasn't mean to the fact where he didn't show love or that he just didn't want us to be around boys. He didn't want us to be wild, because I could have been wild.
Not you,
I
NCB.
could have been wild, yeah. And so he was very hardcore in that respect,
Yeah.
And we hated him because we couldn't go nowhere,
Yeah.
couldn't do nothing, couldn't date, So to us, it was the most horriblest thing in the whole world.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't love us.
Yeah.
Why are you so? But we couldn't tell him that.
It was like a love-hate
Hate,
relationship.
Yeah.
When he told us no, we hated him. But when he loved us, we loved him.
Yeah.
Because he would hug us.
Yeah.
He would kiss us.
Very
he
loving.
would show love like that.
Yeah.
Affectionate.
It's just,
He
but
was
it's just when you
Boys.
guys, when you guys wanted to go, hey, I want to go out on a date, or I want to go out and do this. It was a hard stop. No.
Well, we would never say date.
Okay. Go and hang out.
Yeah.
Okay. There we go.
That was hard to do too.
Date, he'd knock us out.
Yeah. Yeah. Zero chances of that. So,
Yeah.
And hanging out back then is different than hanging out now.
Yeah.
an FYI,
You know that? No.
can you introduce yourself?
Oh, yes. I am Edward's mom, Dawn Stojancevich.
Let's do that one more time.
I am Edward's mom, Dawn Stojancevich.
Who's Edward?
Edward from the Stojo Zone.
So FYI, there's only one person who calls me Edward. Or let me rephrase that, two people. It's my mom and my dad. So whenever I hear Edward, I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah. Yep.
What did I do?
I hear you.
Yeah, what did I do? What did I do?
Right.
So,
Because for the longest time, we knew you as Peeps.
as Peeps, Peeper,
Yeah.
Peeps.
And then you grew up and you become Ed. We go, no, that's Peeps.
Yeah.
Peeper, Peeps.
Well, it cracks me up because a lot of my friends are, hey, what's up, Ed? Ed,
Yeah.
everything's Ed. But then,
Family.
yeah, family, Peeps, Peeper, my mom and dad, Edward.
Fast Eddie.
But then, Uncle Joe, hey, what's up, Fast Eddie? But Denise calls me Eddie. So, and that's,
See,
yeah.
look at that.
Ed and Eddie. So, that's what I go by all of them. So, okay. So as far as stepping in and helping the younger sisters then, like, what did you guys have to do? Like, how did you guys fill that void when you guys lost your mother at such a young age? And how hard was that?
Well, it wasn't hard because we really love each other.
Yeah.
I mean, I always used to tell the girls that one thing that my mom left us with was how much she loved us.
Yeah.
And she loved us all differently, but loved us to the extent that you didn't feel any jealousy
Yeah.
with somebody else. So she was just a loving person, but she could not override my dad
Yep.
unless he was working 4 to 12.
then
That was when mom stepped up, and we could go out, we could do this,
Yeah.
but we had to be home, before him and all this and that. So she gave us a break.
Yep.
But we were just starting to get a break when, she passed.
So mom came in clutch when dad had to work the crazy shifts.
Or sometimes she would talk him into it.
yeah.
Like, for example, when my first husband, he had to come and ask for my hand, because old school.
Yeah.
Well, my dad slammed the door in his face like maybe 3 times. He would come up and he'd tell him I didn't even live there. He was just not going to give the guy a break.
Yeah.
So finally my mom said, you know what? When he comes again, let him in and talk to him.
Yeah.
And I wish he never would have. But what are you going to do?
So dad did know best.
Yes, he
yes,
did.
He did.
Yes, he did. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But that's because we didn't have no experience.
Yep.
We couldn't date in school. So what do we know if the guy is good or bad or smooth talking or this or that?
Yep.
We didn't know.
Yep.
And if we would have had that, I think we would have, well, I don't know, maybe. I'd just say that because I don't know.
Absolutely. So now, out of the sisters, who was the most conservative sister, and then who was like more of the more outgoing, like social butterfly?
Rose was very constricted.
Okay.
Very, there's no gray area, black and white.
Yep.
You're either going to do right or you're doing wrong, you know. But she cared enough for us that she tried to, you know, work with us. I was wild. I was. Because my thing was, if I go out, I am going to have a blast because I might not ever go out again.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, really, that's the way I was,
Yep.
you know. And she would, you know, we'd go out together. You know, she, you know, not even dating with, like going to dances.
Yeah.
I could go if she went.
Okay.
You know, we always had to have somebody together.
Yep.
Well, I'd want to take off, you know, and come back and this and that. And she'd be, oh my God, Sylvia, don't do that. Please be back. And this, and there was times where, you know, we were really cutting the time short because of me.
Yep. Yep.
But she was there for me,
Yep.
you know. And knowing Rose, I don't know, because this is like sister talk. You're talking moms and grandma. Should say, even though she was scared to try things and do things, she wanted to know.
Yeah. Yep.
You know.
That was my mom.
Yep. Because like I said, you know, I'll be back. We're just going to go out for a bit. You know, make out, this, that. And she goes, no, you can't leave here. And I go, Rose, I'll be back. Okay?
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. You know, this is my boyfriend. I want to go make out, blah, blah, blah. So I'd go and I'd make out and everything. And then she'd come, you know, I'd come back just in the nick of time. And then we're walking home from the dance because it was down the street. And she'd say, okay, you know, you make me so mad because you're really pushing it. And if we get caught, we're both going to get in trouble. I'm going to get in trouble more because I'm older and blah, blah, blah. Run it down to me. I go, I know. And she goes, so what happened? You know? So I tell her and she goes, no.
Yeah.
And then what? You know, so I'd be telling her stuff like that. And
She had to be in the know.
She had to know.
Yeah.
She had to know everything.
She was so nosy.
Yeah, but she was very, you know, like I said, she was a good daughter.
Yes. Yep.
She really was because she helped my mom. She helped my dad. She worked. She helped take care of us. She was like a kind of like a second mother, but without the
restrictions.
yeah. You
Yes.
know, she just had to keep us in line, but she wasn't. You know,
She
every once in a
said
while
she
she'd
left
go off.
money for us for ice cream, for the ice cream man,
Who did?
Rose.
Yeah, Mom did too. They always had to have ice cream money
So
because
that
they were little.
yeah.
You know.
Yep.
And the truck would come around and they'd say, you know, they had money for ice cream.
So that's the plus side of being the youngest is you had older siblings
Yes.
that not only parents try to spoil you, but you also had older siblings that would not only watch over you but also spoil you.
Oh, for sure.
Yes.
And could talk to them on their level
Yes.
because we weren't condemning and we weren't punishing and we weren't doing that.
No, there
Yeah.
was no judgment.
Yeah, it's just like, you know what, you can't do this because if you do that, then we're going to get in trouble. You can't come to Chicago and then you're going to be at home. You know, we
Yeah.
talked.
Yes. Yes.
You know.
It's almost it's level playing ground. It's like there's no.
And then when they were going to these dances out in Chicago and stuff with the friends that they knew, and I had a couple of friends that were their age, and they took them to a Puerto Rican dance. Lucy and Mary Ellen,
Mary
my
Ellen.
niece too. I could have gotten in trouble if my dad knew that I was letting them go out.
Well, you know, we weren't going to tell.
Yeah, and I wasn't going to tell.
Yeah.
But I mean, we still had to be aware.
Yep.
You know, you have to tell me where you're at, blah, 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 and you be home when I say, otherwise that's it, you know.
Because what happens if your dad just happened to pop by and they weren't there?
No, my dad would never do that.
Okay,
He didn't
so-
drive to Chicago.
Okay, so you at least knew that
I
when
knew
they
he
were
wasn't
there.
going to come and check on him.
Yep, when they were there,
But
they were
something
there.
could happen.
Totally. Yep.
You know, that's the part. But I knew because I lived at home and I wanted to go out. I wanted to have
Yeah.
a good time and couldn't do it.
Yep.
So I let them do it.
Yeah.
I let them go out. I let them have a good time.
And we had a chaperone, so, and we were respectful in that way. You know, we weren't like, oh, you know, now we're, you know, I don't have to listen to her. She's not my mom, or
Oh, no.
no, we never did that. We respected the people
Yeah,
that
they
were
get-
with us.
We had fun with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if they gave you a little slack, you didn't abuse it. Like
No.
No,
Be home by
we
this
did
time,
that
you
on
were
our own,
on your
not
own.
with our sisters.
yes.
Yeah.
So the one story that I think is hilarious is how did my grandfather and my grandmother meet, and how did they get connected?
That was me.
Yes.
I love that story.
Because we'd go to,
Yep, you're good.
we'd go to the Mutualista.
Okay.
That was a hall, a club, whatever.
Okay.
But in the Mexican society, everybody goes. The parents take their kids. The kids are out there dancing, aunts, uncles, cousins, everybody's out there. Okay. So it was a dance, a Mexican dance, and it was me and Rose. We just went. I think my brother was there too. But anyway, he asked me, and I don't know how Tony and I got to know each other. I don't remember, but we were friends. And then he goes, I want to dance with your sister. But when I asked her, she said no. I said, well, what can I tell you, Tony? He goes, you got to help me. I said, okay, if you buy me a drink. I was, 15, 16 years old? I could not drink.
Yeah.
Okay, so I said, if you buy me a drink, like a Tom Collins or something like that,
Yep.
I'll tell her to dance with you. He goes, okay. So he bought me a drink, and I said, Rose, Tony wants to dance with you. She goes, I don't like him. I said, that's okay. You're just dancing.
I can. You know what's so funny is the way Ansabi just said that. I can totally hear Honey saying it like that.
Yeah,
I
sure.
don't like him.
No.
Yeah, I do too.
He goes, I don't like him, and I don't want to dance with him. And I go, but Rose, just, you know what? One time. That's all I say. Dance with him one time. Poor guy, You know what Dad said. Because my dad would always say, if he was with us at a dance, anybody that asks you to dance, old, young, blind, one leg, whatever,
Yeah.
you dance.
Yep.
Because you don't know what it took for that person to walk across that dance floor and ask you to dance, and then you say no, and he has to walk back. No, and everybody knows that you said no.
Yeah. Yep.
And we're like, okay, so that's how we were raised to dance with anybody.
Yeah.
So anyway, I told Rose, remember what Dad said? You got to dance with him at least one time. She's like, I don't like him. He's loud and he drinks and this and that. She knew of him.
Yeah. Yep.
So I said, okay. So then I said, Tony, I told her, and she said, no, but if you get me another drink, I bet I can make her dance. I bet I can get her to dance with you. He goes, all right. So wasn't happy about getting me drinks, but he did. So then I said, Rose, look, this is how it goes. He's bought me 2 drinks already, and I told him you were going to dance with him. Don't make me, look like a fool. She goes, you shouldn't even be drinking, And I go,
Yeah.
I know, but, So would you just dance with him one time? And she goes, okay, one time. I said, all right. So then I told him, one time.
Gave him
go
the
dance.
thumbs up,
Yeah.
yeah.
Go. So he asked her to dance. They danced.
Yep.
And I think she only danced with him one time that time. She wasn't going to I'm no easy whatever. I danced with you one time and that's it. So then the next time we were going to these Mexican dances and he'd be around, and he'd ask her and she might dance and she might not. But if she said no, then he would come to me for help. And of course he knew my price. So
Tom Collins.
And then afterwards, or 7-7, then they started, talking.
Then they started getting along.
Yep.
Now, when they got married, you were the maid of honor.
Yes.
And Uncle Joe was the best man.
Yes.
Yep. Now, did you know Uncle Joe prior to?
Oh, yeah. I
Okay.
knew. Once they got together, Rose and Tony, dating and that, because wait a second. Your great-grandparents.
Okay. So your mom.
Yours.
Grandma Josefa and
Papa's
They
mom and
went
dad.
to our house to talk to my dad and mom to see if they were allow them to date.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it wasn't just and she was 18, 19, 20. I don't know how old she was, but no, she still wasn't dating,
Yeah.
So they had to go over there saying what the intentions were. okay, that they know that she comes from a good family, and they just want them to get to know each other and go to dances because it could be a possible marriage.
Yeah. Yep.
In other words, there had to be something going on. You just can't date.
Yeah. Yep.
My dad things was, oh, no, you're not dating. You're going to have one guy come, and then you don't like him, and then another guy's going to come, and then you don't like him, and there's going to be guys coming and going. No, we don't do that.
Yeah. Yep.
If you're gonna date, then that's because you're getting married.
Yep.
And I'm like, how weird is that? You got to get married in order to date.
Yeah. Yep. Completely backwards.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and that's what we did, though.
Now, did my great grandparents? Well, they're both sets of my great grandparents, but did Papa's mom and dad get along with Honey's mom?
Oh,
and dad?
yes.
Yeah. So they did get along.
Oh, yeah, they were very respectful. You know, they knew each other. After they got to know each other.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they both spoke Spanish, and, you know, they were just normal people, and they were good with them.
Cordial.
Yes.
Yep.
And your grandma would pick Dolly and I up and take us to the house, your great grandparents' house, because they were living upstairs.
Yep.
And we would go there and hang out. And
Yeah.
We loved your great grandparents.
Yeah.
They were awesome.
So
Yeah.
nice.
They were very.
They
Now-
were very nice.
So I remember Grandma Josefa, and I vaguely I don't remember Papa's dad.
You know who George Raff is? The old
No.
actor?
I do not.
Look him up. That's what your dad, great-grandfather looked like. George Raff.
Raft. And then
we called them Pops.
Pops, yeah. And then Grandpa Padron, again, vaguely, because Grandpa Padron passed when?
I don't know what year.
In 89.
It was. 89
Yeah.
or 90, something like that.
Yeah, because I vaguely,
We were super.
yeah, I was like 5, maybe 4
He
or 5.
was 63 when he passed. Very
Yeah.
young, too.
Yeah. So both parents passed away young. And then I can't. How old was Papa's dad when he passed? Do you remember, Mom?
Grandpa. I want to say Grandpa was like 77.
So he was 77, and then Grandma Josefa lived for. She was older, right?
She was. She wasn't in her 80s.
Oh, she wasn't.
No. She was in her 70s as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
How much older
But
was...
Grandma was a lot younger than Grandpa.
Yeah, I was just
That's
going
what I
to
was
say
going to
that.
say, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I don't know
that's
how
why
long,
he would...
How many years?
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. But yeah, I vaguely remember Grandpa Padron, and I remember Grandma Josefa a little bit more so. I remember Grandma Josefa more so when Papa would pick me up from kindergarten, and then we'd go back to the house and we'd watch a Cubs game, and she'd get pissed because we'd get back to the house and she'd be watching her stories or her novellas, and he'd like, oh, the Cubs game is on. Oh, and she'd get so pissed at him because he'd put on the Cubs game, and so I just remember being there.
Yeah.
Cause she lived with them for a little bit, right? Was
long
that?
time.
Yeah. Because I think that's when they lived there. So, all right. So I feel like I'm jumping back. So Honey was not an athlete. Okay, Honey was not an athlete. You and Hilda and Gracie, no.
I was not an athlete. Gracie, no. Hilda, no.
So Gene's sports were cross country, track,
Cross-country.
and stuff like that.
He also played volleyball.
Volleyball too. Now, Aunt Dolly and Debbie, what were your guys's, like, what sports did you play, and what was like the sport? If you had to pick one, what was your favorite?
My favorite, volleyball.
Volleyball?
But we played field hockey, volleyball, basketball. That's what I played. This is Debbie.
Okay.
And then Dolly.
This is Dolly. I did track and field, the same volleyball, field hockey, basketball. My favorite, volleyball.
Favorite volleyball. Okay, so both your favorites were volleyball. And then you guys were on the same teams and everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in volleyball, do you get fouls? Can you like foul? Or basketball, how's this? Basketball, can you foul out of a game?
Yes.
Okay, so question, with that being said, if you could foul out of a game, did you guys ever switch jerseys so the other one can get back in? Because who would know?
No,
Didn't
we weren't
even
able
think
to do
about that.
we weren't able to do that.
They weren't devious like you.
They knew who we
Yeah, you know,
They
and it was
knew
so-
us.
The games were so. It wasn't a big stadium, so
Yeah.
we were out there. We wouldn't be able to change.
And they knew who we were.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
they did.
We couldn't get away with it.
Couldn't get away with it. Yeah. I always said like with twins, it's like, man, if one falled out and the other one was like, say, better score or whatever it may be, flip those jerseys, get the other one back
No,
in. You know.
we didn't even date each other's boyfriends. You know, like one time, Dolly liked this guy named David.
Yep.
Liked him. We couldn't date. But now she's liking this other guy, Mikey.
Yep.
Okay, so we're in line for lunch, and I tap her on the shoulder. I go, Dolly. And then she turns around, and she goes, what? I go, can I be with David? And she goes, no. And she turns around. And I go, but why? She goes, because I go, but you're with Mikey. And she goes, because I still like David. I go, oh, man. I go, all right.
Wanted your cake and eat it too. Yep.
Yep.
There you go. Okay, so you guys grew up. Tell me about this sister bond, because I feel like you guys were always tight. So going over to Honey's house, you were neighbors, you know. So I remember going over. The one thing I do know, Aunt Sibby, is that your house was very well protected, and there were absolutely no ghosts in about 90% of all the places in your house.
Except one room.
Except one room, yeah, because they were bad in that room.
Yes.
So so you were neighbors with Honey, and then so growing up, like, what did you guys do? What career paths did you take, and what got you there?
Well, Rose was a worker. Mm-hmm. Okay. Like I said, Rose was something else, really. Very serious person. She was going to school, working half a day, and then when that finished, she just kept going to school. She kept taking accounting, I guess, bookkeeping, whatever it's called, administrative assistant, anything. She just kept going to school to get her certificate or degree, whatever.
For the people that don't know, what is shorthand? Because I vaguely know what is shorthand.
It's like a little scribble of a word. So instead
It's
of
a symbol that represents a word.
yeah,
A symbol.
An abbreviation.
Okay, now what was the
It's not even an abbreviation because you couldn't.
no words.
No,
There's
there was
no letters.
They were just scribbles, kind of like.
that represented
Words.
So what would be the purpose of shorthand? Like, where would that come into?
Honey used to be an executive secretary, so she took a lot of notes.
Okay.
And
That's
so
what you do.
Shorthand
They're talking.
is how you're able to keep up with
It's like
your boss's notes.
Short
Like
words.
speed writing.
Okay.
Short
okay.
words.
So
And speed it faster than that.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
so would shorthand? So shorthand would be like if you had to keep notes of a business meeting.
Yep.
Was shorthand also used in courts, like
Yes.
for
Yes.
You could use it for anything.
anything?
Anything. In other words, they're dictating to you. Like, say you have a secretary and you're telling her what to do this letter, and she's just going like this. You know, just all the symbols that represent something. She's doing it. Now, if you were to look at it, it looked like scratches.
But she knew exactly what it was.
She knew what every little symbol meant.
Now shorthand is a lost art, I would say. Correct.
Just about. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know who
Well,
does it.
the courts still use shorthand with their
Machines.
So they have these little machines which look almost like an old-fashioned, like like a
Yeah,
cash
yeah.
register. So those machines are shorthand. So when you see somebody, you know, like somebody taking notes next to the judge and they're doing this, they're doing everything.
That's court reporting.
Court
Court-
reporting.
Yes,
And
but it's
that's
like shorthand.
Shorthand, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
But they're using a machine.
But back in the day,
There was
they
no
didn't
machine.
have that.
You had
know,
the
but I mean,
pen
not
and
for the
paper.
court.
Yeah.
But the secretaries had to learn shorthand because
And if
their
you-
bosses would talk fast.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
And
if
there
you
were no
write the whole word in
You can never
writing,
do it.
there's no way you can get everything.
You couldn't keep up.
You're
yeah.
still shortening your word.
Yeah.
So then they learn shorthand, and then
Like, say a word could be like station. Okay?
Yep.
There's a symbol for shun, Tion. Let's just, for example, say it's a little mark going up and down. That would be shun. Station would be the symbol S,
Which is like a comma.
like a comma.
Okay.
A T is a straight up. Okay, so it'd be S T shun.
Okay.
See, so you got three little things that you're doing that could be station. That represents station.
That's its own language.
Yeah,
It's a
it
language,
is.
It really is its own language. Wow.
I mean, I can still remember some words. You know, I was never that good, but I mean, you know, you take it for 3 or 4 years, whatever. I mean, you're going to remember some things. But Rose, she was the top of her game on that.
And Hilda.
And Hilda,
Hilda too. Yep.
She's a pro.
I took shorthand too.
Okay.
The last time that I used shorthand is when Uncle Mello and I moved to Miami, and I was working for this department store called Burdines,
Okay.
and now it's Macy's. And I worked for the VP of marketing, and I had to take shorthand.
Okay.
And I hadn't taken shorthand in a while, but I did it, transcribed it, gave it to him, sweating, gave him the pen.
Yeah, because you don't
and,
know.
And it was okay, you know.
We
And
had
that
a-
was the last time that I did that.
We had to learn that in school. That
Short-
was one of our.
Courses, yeah.
Yep.
So, you know, I feel like shorthand is almost like the cursive, because cursive there for a long time was not. So Cam, they didn't teach Cam cursive in.
I know, I
high
think
school.
that's
Wow.
crazy.
Yep, they didn't teach him in high school, so it's so
So
funny.
how does he write?
Well, he just regular letters and everything like that. And
Right.
his signature's hilarious because it's just kind of, it's like a C and then kind of squiggly and S, maybe a little squiggly with some, you know, because
Yeah.
they didn't teach that. I think they're starting to teach it now, but
Yeah, oh my gosh.
you know, when I write, I don't use cursive unless I have to, unless it's like speed writing. So then I'm like cursive real quick, but then I feel like it's maybe my own form of shorthand because I'm the only one who can
Right.
understand
Well,
it. You know.
That's exactly it.
Yep. So all right. So Honey did that. She was executive assistant at the Mills for a while. She did. She was at the post office.
She worked
you
at
know.
the post office.
So she did that.
She worked for a lawyer.
Yep, for a lawyer. And then you were
I worked for
in the attorney.
under her.
Oh,
It was
at the same
a-
place.
In the same place. It was a business class
Okay.
in school where you're learning, you know, whatever it is to, you know, work in an office,
Yep.
and then you could work part time and get paid. I mean, you know, that's your thing. But it was a credit.
Yep.
It was part of your class where you went to school for so long, and then towards the end of the half the year, then you could go out and work. Mm-hmm. And then they grade you,
Like
know,
an
your
intern.
boss.
The
Intern.
Like an
internship.
intern.
Yeah. Yep.
So Rose got me in where she worked for attorney Hilbert L. Bradley, and
Was that in the city?
that was his name.
Oh.
Hilbert,
No, but was that in Chicago?
no, Gary.
Oh, that was Gary. Okay. Yep.
Hilbert L. Bradley.
Okay.
And he used to, I mean, like I said, Rose was excellent. I was like this, but I got things done. Mm-hmm. I remember one time he asked me to do something, take a note or whatever, and I went in there and I'm chewing gum.
I think that's a big no.
Oh my God. He goes, little sis. That's what he would call me.
Yeah.
I go, yes. He goes, could you please get rid of that gum? And don't be chewing gum in an office.
Oh wow.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. And I'm like, what? Okay.
So was that
I learned, you know.
So like chewing gum in your office? That was
That's
it?
a no-no. I mean, you know, can you imagine?
Yeah. Yep. Yep. I hear you. Yep. So and then you were in the law field for your whole career, correct? For the most part, or no?
Yeah, towards the end
Okay.
of
Towards the
my
end.
25, 26 years, I was in the a law firm
And you were in the city.
in the city, downtown Chicago.
Yep. And how'd you like the commute? Did you like doing it?
You know what? I loved my work. I just hated the long hours because at first I took the South Shore. Mm-hmm. And that's 2 hours right off the bat.
Yeah. Yep.
You know. So you have to get up real early and you sleep on the way to the, you know, Chicago, and then you have to come home and you sleep on the way home and hope you don't miss your bus stop your train stop, because
Yeah.
that's happened.
Yeah.
But I had gotten sick with asthma. I got asthma,
Adult asthma.
adult asthma, you know, never had it when I was young.
Yeah.
And I was getting really bad attacks. So my doctor says, you know, it's a breeding farm in the train. People have colds, they have diseases, they have viruses, they have this and that, and you're, breathing all of that air.
Yeah, 10 hours a week travel
Yes.
time. Yeah.
He said, so if you could drive, can you drive? I go, yeah, but I didn't want to be driving to Chicago,
Yeah.
But I didn't want to get sick either because every one I had was a bad one. I didn't start out a little bit asthma. It was full blown.
Hit you right off the bat.
Yes. And so I started driving myself to work, and then I got used to it and I loved it
Yeah.
because I got there earlier and got home earlier, and
Yep.
nobody to. I had the radio on. I'm jamming, going to work, coming
Yeah.
home, and everything.
You had you time. You time going there. So
Yes.
you could I feel I didn't I drove from Hobart to Downers Grove for I think it was like 8 months, maybe a year. And I had a love-hate relationship with that drive because it was about an hour and 15-ish to get there. But if you didn't plan it accordingly, it hour and a half, 2 hours, like minimum, if you didn't.
Yeah, don't let it snow. Don't let it rain. Don't let a backup, or an accident somewhere down the line because everything carried back to you.
Miles,
Yes,
miles.
yes.
But I will say that it was great because it allowed you to prepare for the day. But then that drive home allowed you to decompress
Unwind.
and leave it at the office,
So at the end, I liked it. I liked my alone time.
Yeah, absolutely. And Dolly, what was a career field that you took like when you started getting out of high school,
Well,
college?
my first career field was enlisting in the Air Force.
Okay.
Okay. But then I did active duty for about 2.5 years, and then I wanted to come home. I
Yep.
decided that I wanted to do reserve, and then I came back, and I got married.
Yep.
During that time too.
So from enlistment to when you got out, how long were you in the Air Force?
From 1979 to 1986.
Okay, 7 years. Okay.
Reserve
Yeah.
most.
Wow.
Yeah, and I got my my discharge papers when I moved to Florida.
Okay.
Then I didn't have to go anymore.
Yeah.
I just got discharged.
So you've been in Florida since '86?
Yes,
Wow, I didn't know that. So that's been a while then.
yes.
So-
And then my career field from there was more clerical,
Okay.
admin assistant, secretary. And what I can say is that I learned from the best, which was your grandma and my Aunt Sylvia and my Aunt Hilda. And I learned from them because Hilda used to, she used to take notes on that. She used to be secretary in the mill
Yep.
and for a local union.
Yeah. United Steelworkers, correct? Yep.
Yeah.
And Hilda was a part of the Steelworkers for.
A long 30
And then
something
she
years.
went to the higher up, which
The
is
district.
the district.
District, yeah.
The district.
And
The
Hilda
district,
just. Yeah.
and then
District
also she's working for, the president of the whole steel workers.
Yeah. Because Hilda just retired, like within
Yes.
the past
This
8.
Yeah.
January. she
Yeah,
retired.
I was going to say past 10 months, yeah. So then that was the field that.
And
they-
then when we moved to Miami, which was a culture shock because it was like in a different world. The majority were Spanish speaking people and
Coming from Indiana to Miami. Like,
yeah,
different.
Yeah, and we were in Miami, like,
Yeah.
right in the heart of Miami.
Yeah.
And then I started working for that company, Burdines.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, I just started working. I worked for a travel agency, and I had to take the bus, the train, not the train, but the bus, 2 buses to go to that.
Yep.
And then after that, I started working for a company called Tasco, and that's telescope.
I still have the binoculars.
They do telescopes, binoculars.
Wow.
They also were in the rifle,
Telescope.
I know what you're talking, like the rifle scopes that you put to
yes.
aim. Yes.
Yeah, they would do that. I worked there for like 4 years. And then I worked for another company called Sherry Manufacturing, and they did towels.
Okay.
They did Disney towels, Hanna-Barbera towels, Hanna-Barbera was like Scooby-Doo and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And so that was cool. Then after that, we moved to Fort Pierce, which was more north than Miami. We lived there for about a year and a half, and I worked for a utilities company. Mm-hmm. Well, I worked for Manpower. Then they were closing that office, and I put myself into the utilities department. But then we moved to more south Florida, and to Coral Springs, Florida. And then that's when I got into the hospital. And I was in the hospital for 22 years. Then I left and went into another company for like 2 years, and then I wanted to go back into the hospital system, and then that's when I came back. So that's where I've been for the past, now 2 years almost.
So hospital, basically, so 22 years, and then now 2 years, so almost 25 years total combined.
But before that, in 1992, I started in the hospital, and then I left.
Yeah.
Then I came back. Then I left again. Then I came back.
It keeps reeling you back in.
Yeah. So I'm an admin assistant now in administration in the hospital.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
And then, Aunt Debbie, tell me, so like, what was your career field, and like, what kind of got you there, and like, what did you do? Like, what did you want to do out of high school?
Well, out of high school, I joined this program called Manpower.
Okay.
And they had a program where you can learn a skill and get paid, and at the end of the program, they help you find a job.
Okay.
Job placement. So I went to Nancy Taylor Business Institute in Chicago, and the Manpower paid for the train ticket.
Oh, that's awesome.
And they gave you an allowance. So my allowance was $105, I think. Mm-hmm. And so that we got that every month. So there was a group of girls that applied for this, and they got it, and we all would take the train.
And did they cover it too? Did they
covered all of that?
Oh, that's awesome.
For 9 months. After 9 months, then you graduate, and they had a little graduation out there, you know.
Yeah.
And then you had job placement. So then they gave you this sheet, and you go to the place, and you let them know who you are, and they say, okay, well, you're gonna work in this department.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first department I worked in, I didn't like it. I didn't like the people. So then I went back to HR, and I said, I don't like it there. You know, and usually you don't do that. You take what they give you.
Yeah.
And the guy looked at me, and he goes, well, he says, I'm going to do this. He goes, I'm going to put you in another department. He goes, but if you don't like that one, that's all we have.
Yep.
I said, okay. So I went to that department and loved it.
Oh,
so
win-win.
It was at it was called CNA Insurance Company. And it's that little red, big square building that you see downtown.
Oh, yeah, it's still there.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's still there.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yep, and I worked there.
Really?
Yeah, for about a year. And then got tired of the train ride. It was all day.
Yeah.
South Shore. So, but I did like the company. It was an insurance company. I was typing. We had a typewriter.
Yep.
And I would have to fill out these forms, put people's names on there, the address, and what kind of insurance they wanted, auto, home, whatever. And that's all I had to do.
That was like data entry?
Yeah, data entry.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then, so Hilda was in the mill, in the union.
Okay.
And working for Local 1014. So I go, Hilda, do you think you can get me in the mill? And she says, well, I can't get you in the mill, but, you can apply and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, okay. So in 1979, March of 1979, I applied and I got it. So I got hired. And the place there was the Bloomer Mill.
Okay.
Okay.
And where was that at?
Gary.
Oh, it was Gary. Okay,
Gary Works.
Yep, Gary
Yeah.
Works. Okay.
Okay, so I go there, culture shock. I'm in a secretarial office, and now I'm in an environmental mill.
Yes.
with a lot of men, very few women. And so I get there, my first day, when I went home, I cried my eyes out.
Ugh.
The next day, I got up. I said, I'm going to work. So I went back to the mill, and it was great ever since. But I cried because it was just different. And
And what'd you do there then?
okay, so I did labor work.
Okay.
Okay, shovel,
Yep.
swept. I ran some machines. There was one called the ingot buggy machine. There was one called cover crane operator. Mm-hmm. Come to find out, because I graduated from River Forest, and our what would you call
Or like symbol.
our symbol was ingot.
Ingot. Yeah.
Ingot.
We're all River Forest people.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
So
Mighty ingot.
the ingot, and I never knew
What an ingot was.
what an ingot was.
Yeah.
I just knew we were an ingot. I never really.
Yeah.
Okay. So then I'm working with an ingot.
Yeah, now you're operating a machine that's moving them.
That's moving them. I'm like, oh my gosh. So, okay, then after that, the steel mill was having a hard time. They laid off thousands of people,
Yeah.
and I was one of them. So then I started working for Lakeshore Employment Training. Mm-hmm. And I was there for maybe 6 years. So my kids, they were little, and I didn't have a babysitter. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to stay home and watch the kids while my husband worked, Uncle Dan. Mm-hmm. So I stayed home, and then I had to go back to work because I needed to talk to people, not kids.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I think I'm done. So I was home for 3 years.
Okay.
So then I went back and applied for the mill, Gary Works, and I got it. So this time I worked in the coke plant,
Okay.
which was hell.
Very, very
Dirty.
dirty.
You're working with coke. Mm-hmm. You're working with the batteries that heat up the coke, and once it's heated up, they have this machine called the ram, and they ram out all this coke into this buggy. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, as they're ramming all this coke into the buggy, the ram goes back, and all this coke is on the floor. Mm-hmm. So you got to shovel all this coke back into the oven.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
Yeah.
Hot.
Oh yeah.
It was hot.
And you, because it not only was it hot in there, but you also had to wear a lot of
Yes,
layers, correct?
yes,
Yep.
yes.
Which made it even
Hotter.
more hotter. Yep.
Yeah. So I was there for 4 years, and then I applied for the plate mill, and that's where I ended up, at the plate mill.
Now the plate mills where they stamp the steel, correct? Or
They
not?
s-
They're
slabs.
slabs, yes, where they make it smaller.
Yep. They
Okay.
make it real thin, and they do stamp them.
Yep.
Yeah. And then they lay them out, and then you have to make piles, and you ship them out.
Yeah.
Well, they ship them out, and I loved it.
Yeah.
But
And you
weren't
were there for how
crane,
long?
A craneman?
Yeah, I was a craneman.
Crane too.
Yeah, but I wasn't overhead. I was the lower crane.
Okay.
But you still work on that one.
Oh, absolutely.
I
And
loved
you were
it.
there because you just recently retired.
Yeah, I retired. It was 2 years.
2 years. Yep. Yep.
Yep.
Enjoying retirement?
Love it.
Love it. Yep.
Everybody should retire.
Yes, ma'am.
So you did how many years total in the mill?
27.
27 years.
Yep.
Wow.
Loved it.
Yep. So if any of you had to go back and redo anything, would you?
I would go back in the mill. I would start my job there.
From day one,
Yeah.
instead of doing the insurance and all the
Yeah.
other stuff. Yeah.
Because you made good money. They don't have it anymore, but they had the Carnegie It's extra money they have there for you besides your pension.
It was the Carnegie Fund, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't have it anymore.
Yeah. Well, they got rid of it.
Yeah.
Wow. Why'd they get rid of it?
I don't know.
Greed?
They just, they
Save money.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Yeah, to save money.
Yeah.
The company and the union, they negotiated, and so when the new hirees come in, all they have is 401k.
Yeah.
They don't have
There's
the
a give
Carnegie.
take. I feel like anytime there's a new contract that comes in, it's like, there's always that fine line of, okay, who gets what, and
What can we get rid of?
yeah, the last time there was a contract that lasted for a little bit, the contract dispute, I think lasted for a couple months, wasn't it? A few months or something like that.
Before- But we were still working though.
Yeah,
we didn't
yeah.
go on strike.
Yep. So I know there was a contract disputes, and then like now the United Auto Workers are having a big issue right now as far as the contract disputes, and I believe it's to the point now they're striking. So
Yep.
I wonder how that's going to pan out.
I know.
So you do the mill,
I do the mill all over
do the
again.
mill,
This is Dolly.
Yes.
I would have stayed into the military
military.
and retired from there.
Yes. Yep. Did you like it?
I did, but at the time that I was there, it was peacetime.
Okay.
So I pretty much had a lot of fun.
Okay. So you enjoyed it. So if you would have stayed in the military, you went in 79, got out in 86. So if you were in 79, you would have been out by 99, right?
No, 99.
Yep. Because military, it's 20 years retirement.
Yeah.
Yep. And then if I'm not mistaken, also too with military, if you go and you get another government job, your tenureship or whatever the tenureship, is that what it's called?
They
seniority.
add up.
Yeah.
Seniority.
It just follows you into the next career.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, when I apply for a job, I put that I'm military, and I'm supposed to get, that.
I feel like it
They
should.
look at us more than they would the next person.
I feel might be a little biased, but I feel like it should also put you guys a little bit to the front of the top of the stack.
That's what I meant.
Yep.
They put us up in the front.
Yep. Top of the stack. And then Aunt Sibby.
Well, I've had so many different jobs. I would say the last job I had as a office coordinator working for a small law firm that mostly dealt with workers' comp and some labor law. That was the best one, I think. But I also worked for the welfare department, state of Indiana.
I remember.
I was there for 10 years, and I liked it, but they don't pay.
Yeah.
They just didn't pay. And I was in the food stamp department, and I was there for 10 years, but I liked it. It wasn't hard work.
Yeah.
Prior to that, I was working for, this one I like too, American National Bank in Chicago.
Okay.
And I was working in the student loans department. In other words, I went and recruited colleges to try our services because we were the ones that billed for the student loans. We contacted the people and said, okay, you're starting to pay now. This is what you're going to pay, so much a month, and blah, blah, blah. If they didn't, then we were the collections, and we could defer them. We can do all kinds of stuff. But I like that because I got to travel,
Yeah.
nice places. Florida, Minnesota, to some other place, I can't think. But you go there and you present what you do,
Yeah.
And here's college professors or deans or whoever runs the colleges. They're sitting there, and we're letting them know that we will do all your billing,
Yep.
and you guys collect the money. We're collecting money for you, even though we're charging you. But
Yeah. So they can just focus on the education.
Right.
It's one less thing that they have to worry about.
right.
That's awesome.
So I did that, and I've always dealt in all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
I did Tupperware. I did Christmas around the world. These were like part-times to help,
Yeah,
do
absolutely.
that. I did, I went to school to learn to be a clown, to make money.
Yes, absolutely. I
And
remember
that was fantastic, but it's not like an everyday job.
Yes. Yep.
Because it's by word of mouth. You do a party, then that person says, "Oh, I went when," and I was still working, so I could only do it on weekends.
Yep.
So that kind of, but I was charging $150 an hour.
Yeah. Yes.
People paid it.
Yep.
But I was a good clown.
Yes, you were. Yep.
So I liked that. And I also worked for Wrigley's Chewing Gum.
Oh, really? Okay, I
was
didn't
a
know
machine
that.
helper. They're loading the slabs of chewing gum through a machine. That machine grabs it, cuts it, individually wraps every little stick.
Yep.
And then that goes into a pack. And then that goes into another, like maybe 12 packs in a box.
Yeah, in the box, yep.
So, and they're coming like I Love Lucy. They're coming. They're coming.
Yeah.
They're coming.
Yep.
And when you're first starting out, it is like I Love Lucy because they're going everywhere until you get the flow.
Yep.
And and you can do it. So I like that. And that was a real nice place to work for. But I think I was pregnant with Margaret and didn't know it yet. And I passed out at work and got real sick.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I just,
Yeah.
And then after I went to the doctor and everything, they found out I was pregnant. So then I'm like, you know what? I don't really need to work.
Yeah.
Take it easy. And then I worked for a company that did, the mirrors that are on trucks on the side.
Oh, yeah.
That you look out.
Yep.
Okay, we put that together.
Okay.
So it was like a little manufacturer that had a power drill.
Yep.
So you get the pieces, put them together, get the drill, and they're tightened up and everything, and then they go on.
Yeah.
That was fun.
So you guys put that whole assembly so they can just add it to the
and
truck.
then they get packed and off to trucks.
Yep.
And then I did other stuff that I just like doing, like not bartending, waitressing.
Yeah.
I did that for a while, and that was fun. So I just like to, whatever I could do to earn money.
Yeah.
Little jobs. Oil paintings.
Yeah. You were also an adventurer though, so you'd like to try new things too.
Oh yeah. The oil painting was fantastic.
Yeah.
But my first husband ruined that for me because then he wanted to get in it, and it wasn't, I'm the one that did it.
It was your thing.
It was my thing.
Yep.
But then he started like, well, I'll help you carry all of this stuff because there was a lot of carrying frames and pictures and all this and that. So he would go, and then he just kind of started like wanting to be more and more, and I'm like, nah, I don't like that.
Yeah.
No.
Now you don't like it anymore. You lost it.
No, I don't like it anymore. So then I quit that. But I did good on it before he started, going.
Absolutely.
And I think at the time, I couldn't say no to him, or I don't know what it was, but I know I didn't like it, so I quit it.
Maybe because you need the help carrying everything.
Well, that was true, but I'm just saying that I didn't think it was going to go anywhere, but he really wanted to get into it. And you made good money.
Yeah.
So I didn't care. I didn't want that. I didn't want to be, him with me all the time. I didn't like that.
Yeah. You need your own thing.
I need my own space.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of things like that I did. But the three, I think, was American National Bank with educational loans, and of course the law firm and the welfare department.
Those are the three that you liked. Yeah.
I liked those, even though welfare didn't pay. But you
enjoyed it though.
Working with people.
Yeah,
I like working with people.
Absolutely. So, as this comes to a close, I'll ask you all three this. So, if there's one piece of advice you can give somebody, whether they're coming out of school or they don't know what to do with their life or what have you, what kind of piece of advice would you have for that, either that younger generation or even somebody who's in their maybe 30s, 40s, 50s and just are like, what do I do? Like, what kind of advice would you have for them?
I would say you don't have to go to college. I mean, of course, you get your education, high school and all this and that. But if you like, because I also was a hairdresser. I went to school to be a beautician.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So it's like, love what you're doing. Because if you love something, you automatically are going to know more about it. You want to learn. You want to make things easier for yourself. You want to progress. You want to go higher up. That.
It becomes passion.
Yes, it becomes a passion.
Yeah, it's more than just a job.
And I think that is the secret to somebody who stays long in their job because they love what they do.
Yeah.
If you don't love it, you're going to cry every time you go to work.
Yeah. Yep.
I never cried. I had a blast. Everywhere I went, I had a blast.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I cried.
Because you didn't like going there?
Yeah.
But it was the best. It was one of the best jobs.
Yeah.
Good paying job, but
Yeah.
it was hard.
Yeah, it was
Hard
hard.
work.
Very hard.
Yeah. Hard job in general. Hard for, especially for a female too.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I had to get the respect from the men, you know. And I would tell the girls, you go in as a lady. If you don't and you want to act like them and cuss like them, then they're going to treat you like that.
Yeah.
But if you go in there like a lady, they're going to treat you like a lady.
So you
Your
went
work.
you went in there like a lady, and excuse my language, but Aunt Debbie didn't take no shit either.
That's right. I did not.
You stood up for yourself.
Yep.
Yeah.
When you
And
had
they
to.
knew, and they knew it,
Yep.
you know.
Like, don't push me.
Yeah, and they admired the fact that Dan and I, Uncle Dan and I were a good couple
Yeah.
because he worked where I worked at, but he worked for the railroad,
Yeah. Yep.
and he had his own truck, so he would come around and visit me, and he would come up there, you know, and people just admired that.
Yeah.
You know, he was
Looking out for you.
yeah, come bring me breakfast. If I wanted some lunch, I go, hey, can you bring me some lunch today? You know, and he'll bring me lunch. So the guys knew that.
And they also knew Uncle Dan didn't take no shit.
That's right. Yeah.
That's my lady.
Absolutely.
That is awesome. So now, what would you say, advice wise? What would you give to that younger generation that maybe are kind of like at a standstill and they don't know what they want to do?
Yeah, it's basically the same as when I was growing up. You just get the jobs that you can because, you know, you don't have a skill.
Yeah. Yep.
If for a girl, even now, they want to do some of the things that guys do, you know. But I don't know, just learn from each job you get. You know, you got to get a job, McDonald's,
Yeah.
you know, and then later, you know, you don't want to stay there forever. Just keep looking
Work
Yeah.
ethics.
for that perfect job.
Yep.
Just keep looking. Because each job, somebody tells you different. Like, hey, why don't you come work over here? I got, you know, this is really good over here. Come work over here. And then you quit your job, you go work over there. And then on and on and on. People are telling you, hey, finally they'll say, hey, come, you know, the mill is hiring. Come over here to the mill. But I told Susie and Rocky, my kids, I said, you need to get a job that has a pension.
Right.
You either get in the mill or the railroad.
Yep.
So both of them are in the railroad.
Both in the railroad.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. EJ or what is it now?
Well,
Canadian-
Uncle Dan was in EJ&E, but they changed it to Gary Railway.
Gary Railway.
And then Rocky works for Indiana Harbor Railroad.
Okay. Yep.
And then Susie works for Canadian Railroad.
Canadian Railroad. Yep. So, so basically, try things, but at the end of the day, just take a little bit from each job. So it's funny you say McDonald's, but you know, some people might trash a job like McDonald's or whatever. But the one thing I'll tell you is, I didn't work fast food, but the one thing I can tell you from McDonald's is everything's a process. You go to every McDonald's, and you know, 99% of them are the same quality, same this, same that. You know, that burger gets 2 pickles. That burger gets 1
Yeah.
splash of ketchup. Like, it's the same process. So
Exactly.
it teaches you, yes, it's a hamburger. Yes, it's fast food, but it teaches you to be, you know, consistency.
That's it.
Process,
Right,
you know.
right.
So,
That's what my job was.
yep.
In the mill was consistency. It was the same thing all the time. I liked it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Dolly, what about you?
Well, they basically said a lot of things that I would. I would say, if you don't know what you want to do, take a moment.
Yeah.
Take a moment to think about it, because when you get out of high school, it's like, oh, you got to get a job real fast. Oh, you got to do this real fast. You got to do that. Well, now there's all this media, Google, YouTube, what if I want to do this? Well, YouTube it. Well, Google it.
Yeah.
Is this something that I want to do? They have resources now that they can go and check out what job or something that they really like. Friends, friends, family who are working somewhere, and you see how good they're doing. Hey, maybe I can go for that job. So I say, take your time. Not a long time, because you don't want to waste your youth.
Yeah, yep.
But when you do find something, and like Aunt Sylvia said, or Debbie, if you have a passion for something, investigate, research.
Yeah. Yep. That makes a lot of sense, and in today's society, it's very quick. Like it's very grow up fast. And the thing is like, yes, go out and get the job. You want to be able to, support yourself, support the family, this and that, but you also want to be, there's something to be said of waking up every day, and like you said, Aunt Sibby, and go to work and actually have a smile on your face. Because it's, when you go to work and it's something you love doing, yes, it's still a job. At least it's a fun job.
Yeah.
At least it's something you can enjoy. And I do believe a lot has to do with, it's like when you move into an area and you love your neighbors, kind of don't want to move because you love your neighbors.
Right.
Well, if you go to a job and you love your coworkers, it makes it that much harder to move, to go on to the next one. And I think everything from the job itself, the compensation, the work environment, like if you can kind of check off those three, I think it'll put you in a good spot.
Also, a lot of people feel like when they get out of high school, they have to go to 4-year college. They have to do that. And it's intimidating.
Yeah.
Well, there are so many technical jobs out there now.
Agreed.
2-year, 1 year, and then if you want to continue it, then you go into another year of
You expand
your
it. You expand your knowledge.
in
The
that.
apprenticeships, right?
Yes, apprenticeships.
Orlando did the apprenticeship at the
Electrician.
The electricians.
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
So he ended up doing that, and that's the thing is a lot of these places will not only will they teach you, but they're also going to pay you while they teach you, Or at the universities, obviously you get the cost of education is through the roof now, and sometimes it doesn't even guarantee you a job,
Because there's so many people who have college degrees, masters in that,
Yep.
and can't find a job in their field.
Yeah.
So they're taking something that maybe I would be doing.
Yep.
Yeah, or a technical job.
Yeah, technical job that they could have gotten six
years
years
ago.
ago. Yeah, 6 years ago. So I just want to tell you, I am so grateful to have you here. Like, this made my night. This made my day. I love you all. I love my Aunt Hilda, my Aunt Gracie, who is not here, but we will get them.
Yes.
We will get them. So we had to do this. Aunt Dolly's in town from
Yes.
Florida. Shout out to Florida, And I'm just so glad that we were able to do this. We were able to talk. We were able to have a good time. We were able to break bread together, enjoy some coffee, and some good conversations. So-
Excellent food. Thank you, Chef.
Oh, hey,
Yes,
I try.
sir.
I try. I'm opening up my restaurant. No, I'm just kidding.
There you go.
Thank you, nephew, because this was beautiful.
Thank you. It is not a problem. I love doing it. I love having people over. And even though my mom didn't like my rice, and she was the only one who didn't like my rice.
Hey, Isela.
I liked it.
Isela loved your rice.
Yes, Isela loved the
Yes,
rice.
she did.
But
Can't
this is what the sisters do.
Yeah.
We get together.
We always talk about
We
everything.
talk about the past. We talk about the present, the future, our
Everything.
kids, our
Yes.
grandkids, and then all the time.
Yep. So if you want to know something funny, okay, and we're wrapping this up, but who wants to take a guess for how long we were talking for?
An hour.
Hour?
Hour and a half.
Hour,
Hour and a half. We're an hour and a half just talking.
and we can continue.
Yep.
So
Because there's so
there's
much
so much
that wasn't
more.
said. Yeah.
So and I forgot which one said it, but you officially started your podcasting. So Whoever said that, you officially podcasted.
I said I don't know how to podcast.
So you officially podcast. So
That is awesome.
There
I
you
never
go.
knew
Yeah,
what
that's
that was.
fantastic.
So what we'll do is we'll get this thing uploaded. It'll go to Apple Podcasts. It'll go to Spotify. It'll go to YouTube. It'll go to Facebook. You name it, and everything will get uploaded. And and then hopefully by the next podcast, we will welcome Mr. Phoenix Edward Anthony Stojancevich, my son. So it's crazy. It's been such a so it's been a couple months since we did the podcast, and the last podcast I did was with a bunch of friends of mine, and we talked music and everything like that. I didn't even tell any of our listeners that we're pregnant. So we're pregnant, and we are due to have the baby this week. So there's your
And tomorrow you're having it.
yeah. There you go. There you go. So I'm super excited about that, and I'm very grateful to have the aunts in my family because I know that baby's going to be born into a lot of love.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
Yeah,
We are
so-
excited too.
One thing that I can say of all the people that I've known and came in contact with, family and even just friends or close associates, they've always commented on how the sisters, and even when the brother was alive, we were so close.
Oh, big time. Yeah.
And I always said, that comes from my mother.
Yep.
From the grave, she just kept sending love. Because we used to tell the girls everything, every memory we had of my mom,
Yep.
they have it.
That's awesome.
They know.
Yep.
Yep.
That is awesome. You know, that is one thing I think is absolutely amazing, that you guys are as tight as what you are, and you guys have always been as tight as what you are. And, you know, that right there, it's a special thing in a family. You know, Denise's sisters are real tight. You know,
That's
I wish my sister and I have had our differences, and I wish we were a little bit tighter, but it, you know, is what it is. But
Right.
it
And
is.
things will change.
Yeah, you know, maybe things will. But I will say that is one thing that whether it's family, friends, coworkers, everybody knows it's the sisters, you know.
Yeah.
They always knew you guys were really tight. So for that, and thank you for the memories, thank you for everything, and I can't wait to do this again, because this
I
will
can't
not be the
wait to
last time.
do
Yeah,
it.
because we will talk about twins.
Yes, absolutely. Twinning. We'll do hashtag twinning, you know.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
And we'll do this again. So with that said, episode 9 of the Stojo Zone. Thank you guys for listening, and check this wherever you listen to your podcasts. We're out.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You did good.